Good morning. My name is Natasha Diaz. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm grateful to serve on the Board of Trustees for you. It's my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. If you're new here, welcome. We look forward to getting to know you. Please take a moment, if you're new, to fill out a visitor form in the back of the pew. And everyone in the congregation here that's present is welcome to join us after service for Community Hour. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm that love is the power that holds us together and is at the center. We are accountable to one another for doing work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. I'd like to take a moment to introduce Marty, our music director. She's got an announcement.
Good morning. I'm Marty Swisher. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm here to primarily announce and invite you to put on your calendar the Best of Unity Temple Choir concert that happens about every 4 or 5 years, and it will be on October 25th. And last time we had this, which was in 2018, it sold out. We broke fire codes and we had to add. And we have been preparing, choir has already begun because of this special event to prepare for. It will incorporate some of the movements from Considering Matthew Shepard, Sacred Place, the Bach Magnificat, and some other very special things that we presented in the past. So I hope that you will at least put that in your calendars and know that tickets are being sold online and are available now on the website. But we will, of course, be selling them before and after services in the coming months. My last announcement is that I'm so happy that this morning's guest musician is Clara Dodge, who attended, grew up in this congregation, was a proud chalice singer back in the day, and is now a junior at DePaul University studying cello performance. Thank you.
We are so glad that you're here with us today. Please take a moment, if you're here in the congregation, to greet each other. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Roger, and I am one of the ministers here. My pronouns are he, him. Our chalice lighter this morning is Lynn, and she shares that for the first time, she shares that she is older and that she loves to travel. Let's join in the chalice lighting words together. We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the church of the open mind, the loving heart, the helping hands. We take care of the planet Earth and each other.
Thank you, Clara. Good morning. My name is Sybil Madison. I use she, her pronouns, and I am your worship associate today. Even when the arena is empty, I thank God for the shots I miss. If you ever catch me only thanking God for the shots I make, remind me that I'm not thanking God. This excerpt from an Amanda Gibson poem inspired my opening words today. January 2011, I had a job that I literally had dreamt of. I was in charge of opening a new school. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. We were building a truly unique community of learners and teachers in a very challenging context. Pretty early on, conflicts emerged that threatened the future of this new school. Conflicts between kids who are in our school and kids who are outside of our school, conflicts with parents, and conflicts with our school management organization. The principal was in over his head. I was too. But our visions forward were on divergent paths. He wanted to command control his way through the crisis. I wanted to double down on building a community strong enough to learn and grow from the crisis. I came to understand intuitively that he was not the leader that we needed at that time. But did I have the courage to fire him and lead our team and the school forward? I did not. Courage required, courage absent. I was afraid. I was afraid of how those parents who had taken a huge leap of faith with our new school would react. I was afraid of losing teachers who might follow his departure. I was worried about how we would find our footing as a new team afterwards. And I was worried that it would appear that we had failed in our critical first year, and that it would be a sign of my inability to lead. I gave in to those fears and worries and powered through an unacceptable status quo. 3 months into the second year of the school, he left abruptly, but not because of me. At the end of that second school year, I left, but not because I wanted to. Lacking courage leads to missed shots. And it took a long time before I could look back on my experience and be more thankful than regretful. I'm thankful for having an opportunity to do something that was truly special, and I learned so much. Here's what I learned about mustering up the courage to do what I fear. When I'm afraid, I need to return to my North Star. In this case, my North Star was what was best for the students, not how it was going to impact the adults. Notice I was afraid of so many things, but I wasn't afraid about students. All those things had to do with adults. When I'm afraid, I need to share what I'm struggling with instead of muddling through it on my own. And ultimately, when I'm afraid, if I act in alignment with my North Star and with the support of trusted loved ones, I will be okay, and it will be okay, no matter the outcome. The school is not open today. I randomly bump into former students from time to time. I actually bumped into one 2 days ago at a hotel, and they remind me of the importance of what we tried to do. They also make me wonder how a little bit of courage might have made a difference for us all. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey, wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together. Please rise and body your spirit as we sing hymn number 1012 in the Teal hymnal, When I Am Frightened.
Join with me in the words of the covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is the sacrament, and service is the prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
You may be seated, and I invite you to find the insert that is in your order of service. We are holding a spiritual care team transition today, and so I want to name and invite all the spiritual care team members, incoming, outgoing, and continuing, to come and be here. The members are Diana Coates, Jay Cohen, Maureen Crotty, Vanessa Crowder, Tristan Hansen, Jeff Rupus, Chet Taranowski, and Carrie Vitale. Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation is a caring community, nurturing a ministry of presence and listening for one another. One part of that ministry is the sharing of joys and sorrows during the worship service. Each week, this part of the service is introduced by a member of the spiritual care team. The members of the spiritual care team are trained lay leaders that you can call on in times of challenge for support. This morning, we set aside time to honor that ministry in a time of transition, thanking our two departing members. Jeff is one of them. Tristan was not able to be here. And welcoming two new members, Maureen and Carrie. And I invite you all to join with me in honoring our outgoing members. Jeff and Tristan, we thank you for sharing your time, presence, compassion, and attention with our congregation. We honor your contributions as spiritual care team members, grateful for your service in this way.
I speak for myself, and I think I can safely speak on behalf of Tristan as well. We are grateful for the opportunity to serve as spiritual care team members. We thank you for entrusting us with your stories. We depart with full hearts.
I invite you to join with me in welcoming our incoming members. Maureen and Carrie, we thank you for agreeing to serve on our spiritual care team. We place our trust in you, knowing we can call on you for support and compassion.
We are grateful for the opportunity to serve as spiritual care team members. We thank you in advance for entrusting us with your stories. We gladly join in this sacred ministry.
We also thank and affirm the continuing members of the spiritual care team, Diana, Jay, Vanessa, and Chet. May each of us know that we are held in care by this community, able to listen and to call on one another in times of need. May we each know that listening is an act of love. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome.
As you know, if you've heard, my name is Jeff Rupus, and I'm terming out as a member of the spiritual care team. It's been an honor to serve. Love is the doctrine of this congregation, and the sharing of our joys and sorrows within the congregation is one of the ways we manifest that love. If you'd like to have a joy or sorrow announced at the service, you can enter it into the binder, which is just outside the sanctuary here, or you can email it to spiritualcare@unitytemple.org. And as you know, if you have any interest in sharing your concerns, your joys and sorrows, please contact the spiritual care team. They're here to help you in your times of sorrow and to share your joys as well. The joys and sorrows we have today are two. Jen Packheiser wants you to know that today is her birthday, and she celebrates everyone enthusiastically. When she was diagnosed with diabetes as a baby, her parents were told that she'd only live till be 18. Here I am, she says, many years later, and she cherishes all of them. And finally, John Tanderich asks that we remember on the anniversary the dropping of the A-bombs in Japan. It killed nearly 200,000 people. We hold that in our minds in the hopes that never again. Many of you have joys and sorrows in your heart that you hold close to yourselves. You're free to come, and I invite you to come and drop stones in the bowls of water. The stones represent your joy and sorrow, and the mingling of them in the water represents the sharing of our joys and sorrows within the congregation. So let us begin.
The words of meditation and prayer today are a short prayer written by Padre Gautama. Courage comes from the heart, and we are always welcomed by God, the heart of all being. We bear witness to our faith, knowing we are called to live lives of courage, love, and reconciliation in the ordinary and extraordinary moments of each day. We bear witness, too, to our failures and our complicity in the fractures of our world. May we be courageous today. May we learn today. May we love today. Amen.
If you are someone who likes to come close when you're listening to a story, I invite you to come and sit down on the floor near me. I have a book today called Courage Every Day. It's by Y. Mei Wong and Kirsty Budiman. Tomorrow is a big day, but there are thousands of butterflies fluttering in my tummy. Have any of you ever felt like that? Butterflies in, ooh, yes, many people. I believe in you. Have courage, says Papa. But what is courage? I ask. Sometimes courage is being the one who saves the day to cheers and applause. Or courage is exploring a path you've never been on. But oftentimes, courage is making everyday choices, Papa says. Courage is stepping out of the house every day. Courage is trying a new food. Courage is asking for help. Courage is being kind to the people around you, saying hi and thank you. Courage is introducing yourself to others and asking, "Can I play?" Courage is standing tall, speaking up for what is right. Courage is loving yourself for who you are. You may have fear and doubt and wonder if your courage is enough. Take a deep breath and move one step forward, and there the courage inside you grows. At my window, I gaze out at the twinkling stars and wish for courage. Then I remember times that I chose not to give up, times that I said sorry for my mistakes, times that I shared my feelings. I realize all this is courage too. Tomorrow will be great. I am ready for new adventures. I may still feel scared sometimes, but I will remember I find courage every day. The end. Thanks for listening. I'm going to send you to Unity House.
Each week, Unity Temple splits the offering evenly. One half supports the program and mission of the congregation. This week, the other half goes to the Worthy Now prison ministry of the Church of the Larger Fellowship. The Church of the Larger Fellowship is a Unitarian Universalist congregation without geographical boundaries that has long served to spread the good word of Unitarian Universalism, far and wide. These days, through Worthy Now, their ministry includes almost 2,000 members experiencing incarceration. This ministry proclaims, "Our dream is for all people who are imprisoned to know that they are inherently worthy now of love and justice, and for them to have access to religious freedom." Find out more at worthynow.org. May we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts.
This reading is a poem from Andrea Gibson called "How the Worst Day of My Life Became the Best." It starts off with a quote from Eckhart Tolle. "When you are trapped in a nightmare, your motivation to awaken will be so much greater than that of someone caught up in a relatively pleasant dream." When I realized the storm was inevitable, I made it my medicine. Took 2 snowflakes on the tongue in the morning, 2 snowflakes on the tongue by noon. There were no side effects, only sound effects. Reverb added to my lifespan, an echo that asked, "What part of your life's record is skipping? What wound is on repeat? Have you done everything you can to break out of that groove?" By nighttime, I was intimate with the difference between tying my laces and tuning the string section of my shoes. Made a symphony of walking away from everything that did not want my life to sing. Felt a love for myself so consistent Metronomes tried to copyright my heartbeat. Finally understood that I am the conductor of my own life and will be even after I die. I, like the trees, will decide what I become. Porch swing, church pew, an envelope that must be licked to be closed. Kinky choice, but I didn't close. I opened and opened until I could imagine that the pain was the sensation of my spirit not breaking. That my mind was a parachute that could always open in time. That I could wear my heart on my sleeve and never grow out of that shirt. That every falling leaf is a tiny kite with a string too small to see, held by the part of me in charge of making beauty out of grief. My son starts high school on Tuesday. And so I have been thinking about courage, about how much courage is required to start a new school, to start a new school year, to embark on what feels like a new chapter in life. People have asked me and asked him how he feels about going to high school, and it's unclear to both of us how to respond. Probably it's all the feelings. I should mention that the high school has been excellent in its communication and in orientation for both students and parents. We've all been over there several times, and we have received messages upon messages about what to expect. And still, courage will be required. I don't know how his body feels, but I know what it's like for me when I am about to do something that I am nervous about. It's a lot like the little girl from the story whose tummy flutters with butterflies. In my best moments, when I need to summon my courage, I remember to notice the butterflies and breathe and stay present and then go about my business. It's certainly what I try to do each Sunday morning here when I'm sitting on this bench. These past few months have required a lot of courage for my kid who graduated from 8th grade, who went on overnight trips with his class, who visited brand new places, who did summer school classes, and tried new things. It's a reminder to me of how much courage is required just to move through the moments of our lives and do the regular things. Around the time I started thinking about this sermon, the spoken word artist and poet Andrea Gibson died. I already loved them, but with their death came a broader celebration of their wisdom and words, much of which applies to living courageously. The photo section on my phone is probably 60% pictures of my dog and 20% poetry or quotes that I have found helpful. On Thursday night, I met with the caregivers group, those who are caring for spouses or parents, and I read this piece from Andrea Gibson that I discovered on my phone. A butterfly trying to find its way out of a cocoon can be difficult to watch, and so it's common for people to try to peel back the layers of the cocoon and try to help the butterfly into the air. But a butterfly's lifespan can be greatly shortened if the exit from the cocoon isn't its own doing. The butterfly's struggle is actually a gift to its chances of living, of thriving. To become who we are meant to become, the becoming must be ours. This isn't to say not to help each other, but to understand the gift we give in supporting one another to make our own way to the sky. As a parent, I recognize this struggle. It takes courage to come out of the cocoon, and it takes courage to be the person who watches the struggle. It's one of those tricky balances of life to figure out when to help and when to simply witness the struggle. Courage is, of course, heavily intertwined with vulnerability. I remember when I first fell in love with my wife and thinking, oh, this is what they mean when they say it feels like your heart is walking around in someone else's body. That, of course, has been magnified in parenthood. It takes courage to love deeply and fully and to live your life with their heart spread out amongst other people and the world itself. And yet, to live without that kind of love is not fully living. I recently listened to a podcast interview of Andrea Gibson by Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach, whose podcast is called We Can Do Hard Things. In the interview, Andrea noticed that they had spent their whole career telling people to feel their feelings. Andrea's wife, Megan, writes, in 2021, Andrea announced they were writing a newsletter titled Things That Don't Suck. A few weeks later, we learned they had ovarian cancer. At first, Andrea said, what a terrible time to be committed to writing about what doesn't suck. Then, almost immediately, they shifted their perspective and said, what a perfect time. And so the newsletter was born, part journal, part poetry, part pep talk, part treasure hunt. It became an archive of Andrea's ability to find beauty in unlikely places, to wring gratitude from even the hardest hours. A museum of how they danced through their diagnosis, always turning their compass towards joy. It fostered a community they deeply loved. By May of 2023, when the podcast episode with Doyle and Wambach was released, Andrea had recently got the news that they had had a recurrence of ovarian cancer and that it was incurable. And as they faced this news and how it unfolded, they continued to work on feeling all of their own feelings and also sharing it all with us. What a gift. I have found Andrea's incredible openness to all of the things that life offers them to be such a helpful model. I love that line from the poem that Sybil referred to in her opening words. Even when the arena is empty, I thank God for the shots I miss. If you ever catch me only thanking God for the shots I make, remind me I'm not thanking God. I'm a minister and I get to listen to lives, and so I think a lot about courage, about the things that people bring that they have on their hearts, watching someone they love struggle with an illness or some other health challenge, having the love of their life die, trying to understand the implications of a diagnosis, experiencing the vicissitudes of aging, all those and more that require courage to face and fully experience. Sometimes life presents us with, for lack of a better phrase, unwanted growth opportunities. I know sometimes when I hear difficult news like this, I'll feel it in my body like a weight, and then occasionally I'll remember that weight and recall the bad news. I sometimes try and ignore that weight. I don't always think to examine that weight more closely. Where does it lead? What is the worst thing that could happen? What are the ways that I can learn? What are the opportunities here? I sometimes even try and protect others, or so I think, from keeping it all to myself. But I am reminded of Andrea saying, even if the truth isn't hopeful, the telling of it is. Which is, of course, why we encourage people to share what's on their minds and hearts, either through words or through placing a stone in the water here on Sundays. One of the most important things I learned in seminary and think about nearly every week is something that one of my preaching professors, both ordained UU ministers who served congregations, was this. They said, remember that every Sunday there is someone sitting in the pews with a broken heart. If that's you, I hope you're reminded today that you are not alone. And I share with you Andrea's words, you fear you are not strong enough to do the hardest thing, only because you don't yet know that doing the hardest thing is exactly what will help you to know your strength. The world is on fire, and horrible things are happening all around us, and so I have been thinking about courage. Some things are happening because people lack courage, perhaps thinking if they comply with some of the ridiculous and unfounded edicts coming from the federal government that somehow they will be spared. One example of this comes from Aaron in the Morning, who reports, faced with funding threats, a growing number of institutions, including private colleges, hospitals, and other essential services, are choosing to comply rather than fight for their transgender students, patients, and constituents. If this trend continues, compliance through cowardice will become the primary vehicle for rolling back transgender rights, not just in red states, but nationwide. States' attorneys general must act to enforce state-level non-discrimination laws or risk letting federal intimidation dictate policy, even in places where protections still exist. I find this particularly infuriating. It feels painfully obvious to me that compliance through cowardice will save or protect exactly no one. As Nikita Gill puts it, everything you allow your government to do to others will eventually be done to you. The only difference between you and the ones the government is presently harming is time. Happily, our Illinois Governor, J.B. Pritzker, is being courageous in the past 10 days as the Texas state legislator is trying to claim more seats in Congress to get more votes for the current occupant of the White House. The Texas Democrats leveraged their power the best way they knew how by leaving the state and preventing a quorum. They were assisted logistically, in part by Governor Pritzker. Let's be clear, he said this week, this is not just rigging the system in Texas. It's about rigging the system against all the rights of all Americans for years to come. Texas Democrats were left no choice but to leave their home state, block a vote from taking place, and protect their constituents. This is a righteous act of courage. Pritzker urged other Americans to, quote, take a page from these leaders' playbook. When you show people that you have the will to fight, well, they can muster the will to fight too. Courage is contagious. He continued, to be in public office right now is to constantly ask yourself, how do I make sure that we're standing on the right side of history? There's a simple answer. The wrong side of history will always tell you to be afraid. The right side of history will always expect you to be courageous. Expect courage from the people around you, and it will show up. Expect fear, and fear will rule the day. Let the courage of these leaders be an example to the rest of us. These days in the United States and our rapidly crumbling democracy, courage is required. It is required if we want to live lives of integrity, if we want to steer our country in a way that aligns with our values, if we want to build communities that reflect the best of us. Each of us is required to act with courage for the good of all. To be clear, there's at least as many ways to do that as there are people. Still, it is required. We are people of courage. I've been trying to take a page from Andrea Gibson's words and philosophy as I consider how to live my life these days. There's the part of me that resonates with her reaction to her diagnosis in relation to her newsletter. Yes, now is the perfect time to be writing about things that don't suck. Cheering each other on, finding the joy in the grief and hard stuff, being grateful for it all. There's even the part of me that says, okay, this day, however overwhelming or challenging it feels, is full of opportunity. What can I do that pushes me towards courage, towards the world I want to create? There's a video I found of Andrea's that they call 5 Counterintuitive Mental Health Tips That Changed My Life. And I offer them to you to see what they stir up in you. Here they are. 1, if you want to feel less fear, if you want less anxiety, stop trying to keep yourself safe. Stop chronically trying to protect yourself. 2, if you want to be happier, wholeheartedly welcome your grief. 3, if you feel like your life is lacking something, if you're struggling to feel abundant, put your attention on what you have to give. 4, if you're feeling out of control, stop trying to control things. 5, if you're feeling unloved, love. I'm holding on to these as guidance these days. Because I have been living my life and interacting with others and participating in the world, I have been thinking about courage. In so many ways, even in the very little moments of life, courage is required. It's required in order for us to get through the days and weeks and years with a growth trajectory. Courage means being open to all the things and learning and responding and approaching it all with curiosity and growth. It means knowing that what we value and love are part of how we must act and shape the world around us. Courage is required. From Andrea's poem, How the Worst Day of My Life Became the Best. I opened and opened until I could imagine the pain was the sensation of my spirit not breaking. That my mind was a parachute that could always open on time. That I could wear my heart on my sleeve and never grow out of that shirt. That every falling leaf is a tiny kite with a string too small to see, held by the part of, in charge of beauty making out of grief. And so, may it always be. I invite you to join me in singing hymn number 368. Now let us sing. It's best if it's done loudly and with as great gusto as you can summon. This is from quotes in my phone photo album from Andrea Gibson. This moment in history is not only about rooting in our values, it's about rooting in our tenacity, courage, and strength. I know so much feels heavy right now. It is heavy. But never forget that our hearts are community gardens. I think we'll all start seeing how much we have on our side once we each begin to see how much we have to give. Please join with me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. May be seated.